What if I told you making one horse harness requires 60 individual leather pieces, 200 brass fittings, and 300 hours of hand labor? Here is how an Amish craftsman turns raw cowhide into working equipment worth $10,000. Raw materials. The process begins with leather. Amish harness makers order 60 to 70 sides of beef leather at one time. A side is half of a cowhide, split down the backbone. The leather arrives from tanneries that specialize in heavy-duty cowhide. This is 8 to 9 ounce leather, thick and stiff, designed to withstand constant tension and friction. The weight measurement refers to ounces per square foot. The harness maker stores the leather in a climate-controlled area of his shop to prevent drying or mold. Leather inspection. Before cutting begins, every side of leather undergoes inspection. The craftsman spreads the hide across a large table and examines it under good light. He looks for flaws that would weaken the final product. Scars from barbed wire or branding leave thin spots. Insect bites create small holes. Uneven thickness indicates poor tanning. The craftsman marks these flawed areas with chalk. He also checks the grain, the surface texture of the leather. Tight, consistent grain indicates quality tanning and durability. Only the best sections of each hide are selected for critical harness components like traces and backbands that bear the heaviest loads. Pattern layout. The harness maker retrieves patterns from wooden shelves lining the shop walls. These patterns are made from heavy cardboard or thin wood and have been used for decades. Some date back to the founder of the shop, passed down through 3 generations. Each pattern represents one piece of the harness: traces, backbands, belly band, breeching, crupper, collar, bridle. The craftsman lays patterns across the inspected leather, positioning them carefully to avoid flawed areas while minimizing waste. A single side can cost several $100s. Wasting material means wasting money. He arranges patterns like puzzle pieces until he achieves maximum efficiency. Once satisfied, he traces around each pattern with chalk. Hand cutting. Cutting begins with a sharp knife. The craftsman uses a heavy-duty utility knife with replaceable blades or a traditional harness knife with a curved blade designed for leatherwork. He places a metal straight edge along the chalk lines for straight cuts. For curved pieces, he cuts freehand. The thickness of the leather requires multiple passes. He cannot cut through 8-ounce cowhide in a single stroke. He makes shallow cuts first, gradually deepening with each pass until the blade penetrates completely. Each piece must be cut precisely. A strap that is too narrow will break under tension. A strap that is too wide will not fit through buckles or rings. The craftsman works methodically, cutting one piece at a time. A complete harness for one horse requires approximately 60 individual pieces. A 6-horse team harness requires 360 pieces. Edge beveling. After cutting, each piece undergoes edge beveling. The raw edge of cut leather is square and sharp. Over time, these sharp edges wear against the horse's skin, causing sores. They also catch on buckles and rings, creating friction that weakens the leather. Beveling removes the sharp corner and creates a smooth, rounded edge. The craftsman uses a beveling tool, a small handheld device with a blade set at a specific angle. He runs the tool along the edge of each leather piece, shaving off a thin strip. After beveling, he burnishes the edge. Burnishing involves rubbing the edge vigorously with a smooth tool, often a piece of hardwood or bone. The friction generates heat that compresses the leather fibers and creates a polished, sealed edge. This step is time-consuming but ensures comfort for the horse and longevity for the harness. Hole punching. Most harness pieces require holes for stitching, buckles, or adjustment. The craftsman marks hole locations with a scratch-awl, a sharp-pointed tool that leaves a small indentation in the leather. Spacing must be precise. Stitching holes are typically 8 to 10 holes per inch for heavy harness work. The craftsman uses a rotary punch or a drive punch to create holes. For stitching holes, he uses a pricking iron, a tool with multiple evenly spaced prongs that pierce the leather and create a row of holes in one strike. This ensures consistent spacing. After punching, he clears any leather debris from the holes. Hand stitching. Hand stitching is what separates Amish harness from factory-made alternatives. The craftsman uses saddle stitch, a technique where two needles work from opposite sides of the leather, passing through the same holes and locking the thread in place. He threads both ends of a single piece of heavy waxed linen thread with blunt harness needles. He pierces one side of the leather with the first needle, pulls it through, then pierces from the opposite side with the second needle through the same hole. This creates an interlocking stitch that will not unravel even if the thread breaks. Machine stitching uses a lock stitch that depends on tension. If one thread breaks, the entire seam can unravel. Saddle stitch remains intact because each stitch is independent. The craftsman stitches slowly and deliberately, pulling each stitch tight before moving to the next hole. A single seam on a trace strap might require 200 stitches. Completing all the stitching on a full harness takes dozens of hours. His hands develop calluses from the constant pressure of pulling thread through thick leather. Hardware attachment. After stitching, the craftsman installs hardware: buckles, rings, snaps, D-rings, hame tugs, trace chains. Amish harness makers prefer solid brass hardware. Brass does not rust, which is critical for equipment that will be exposed to rain, sweat, and humidity. Steel hardware rusts quickly, weakening the metal and staining the leather. Brass costs more but lasts indefinitely. The craftsman rivets hardware in place. He punches a hole through the leather, inserts a copper or brass rivet through the hardware and the hole, then uses a rivet setter and hammer to compress and flatten the rivet. This creates a permanent attachment far stronger than stitching alone. Some hardware is sewn in place. Rings that must pivot or move freely are sewn rather than riveted to allow rotation. The craftsman uses heavy thread and multiple passes to ensure the stitching can withstand constant pulling. Installing hardware is tedious. Each buckle must be aligned precisely so the holes in the leather strap line up correctly when the buckle is fastened. Misaligned hardware makes the harness difficult to use and causes uneven wear. The quality of hardware directly affects the harness's working life. Cheap plated hardware might look acceptable when new, but the plating wears through within months of regular use. Once exposed, the underlying steel oxidizes rapidly, leaving rust stains on the leather and weakening the metal until it breaks under load. Amish craftsmen have seen harnesses returned with broken steel snaps that failed during heavy pulling, causing accidents and injuring horses. This is why they refuse to compromise on hardware quality regardless of customer price concerns. Each piece of brass hardware is inspected before installation. The craftsman checks for casting flaws, rough edges, or weak points in the metal. He files down any sharp burrs that could cut through leather or scratch the horse. He tests the action of buckles and snaps to ensure they operate smoothly without binding or sticking. Assembly. With all individual pieces cut, beveled, stitched, and fitted with hardware, assembly begins. The craftsman lays out the components of the harness in the order they will connect. He starts with the collar, the padded leather piece that rests on the horse's shoulders and distributes the pulling force. The collar is attached to hames, the rigid metal or wood frames that follow the curve of the collar. The traces, the long straps that connect the collar to the load being pulled, attached to the hames with trace chains or leather loops. The backband, a wide strap that runs along the horse's back, connects to the collar and supports the shafts of a cart or the pole of a wagon. The belly band wraps under the horse's belly and holds the shafts in position. The breeching, a set of straps that run around the horse's hindquarters, allows the horse to hold back or slow down a load. The crupper, a strap that loops under the horse's tail, prevents the harness from sliding forward. The bridle, which includes the bit, reins, and blinders, controls the horse's head and vision. Each piece connects to others through buckles, snaps, or stitched loops. The craftsman assembles everything step by step, checking measurements and fit as he works. Assembly reveals whether all the individual components work together as a functional system. A harness is not simply a collection of leather straps. It is a precisely engineered tool where every piece must move and flex in coordination with the others. The craftsman tests the range of motion at each connection point. The breeching must slide smoothly when the horse backs up, but lock firmly when holding back a load on a downhill slope. The traces must hang at the correct angle to pull efficiently without rubbing the horse's legs. The belly band must be positioned to hold shafts steady without restricting the horse's breathing or movement. As he assembles, the craftsman makes small adjustments. He might move a buckle hole slightly to improve fit. He might add an extra keeper loop to prevent a strap from flapping loose. These refinements come from decades of experience understanding how horses move and how harnesses respond to work. Final inspection. Before the harness leaves the shop, it undergoes final inspection. The craftsman examines every strap, every stitch, every buckle. He looks for loose threads that need trimming. He checks hardware for sharp edges that could cut the leather or injure the horse. He tests every buckle to ensure it latches securely and releases smoothly. He pulls on traces to verify stitching strength. He flexes leather pieces to confirm they are supple enough to bend without cracking. If he finds any defect, he corrects it immediately. A weak stitch is reinforced. A rough edge is sanded smooth. A stiff section of leather is oiled and worked until it becomes pliable. He also verifies measurements against the customer's specifications. Harnesses are custom made to fit specific horses. A collar that is too large will rub and cause sores. A collar that is too small will choke the horse. The craftsman double checks that all adjustable straps have enough holes to accommodate growth or weight changes in the horse. Only when he is satisfied that the harness meets his standards does he prepare it for delivery. He oils the entire harness with leather conditioner, which protects against moisture and keeps the leather supple. He packages it carefully to prevent damage during transport. The final inspection is where reputation is built or destroyed. Amish harness makers know that their work will be judged not by how it looks in the shop, but by how it performs in the field. A harness that breaks during spring plowing or fails during a critical harvest can cost a farmer days of lost work. The craftsman's name is attached to every harness he produces. Word spreads quickly in Amish communities about which shops produce reliable equipment and which cut corners. A single failure can damage a reputation built over decades. This is why the inspection is thorough and uncompromising. The craftsman checks the harness as if his own son would be using it, because in many cases, that is exactly what will happen. Amish harness shops serve their own communities first. The horses wearing this equipment pull the buggies that the craftsman's family rides in. They work the fields that feed his neighbors. The standard of quality is personal, not commercial. Before wrapping the harness for delivery, the craftsman often takes a moment to examine his work with satisfaction. Hundreds of hours of cutting, stitching, fitting, and adjusting have resulted in a piece of equipment that will serve faithfully for decades. It will outlast the horses that first wear it and likely be passed to a younger generation when those horses are replaced.